congratulations to your merger and an even more successful company now about to be created. And I wish you the best of luck for England for the games for 2012. Yes. So now on to pre-commerce. Why pre-commerce? So when I was at Dell, one of the things that hit me, I was running social media. Well, actually, we created it from scratch and built this team worldwide, B2B and B2C. And we didn't call it social media. We were just trying to reach customers online. And what I realized is that companies like Dell and others were putting all their resources against the transaction. And when you actually analyze the transaction, it's less than 1% of the time that you spend online in your entire life. So 99% of the time that you spend online is what I call pre-commerce. So you have to become excellent in how you help people when they're browsing, socializing, learning, and getting support. And the brands that do that well will drive e-commerce in the years ahead. The headline is that the majority of the Forbes 2000 is extremely poor at doing this. They're still going, hey, we have a YouTube channel. You know, we have a Facebook page. Great. We're just getting started. So this is going to talk about that a little bit. So I may get up here if you don't mind and walk around a little bit. So if we look at like, one of the things I think is really important is to become a student of online. So it's not important just to say, hey, we're in it, we have a page. It's to say, what are the trends that are actually fundamentally changing the business? So I'll just give you a couple. This could be a 100-slide deck by itself, right? But if you look at, for example, news flow, the main drivers of news flow today are blogs, Twitter, Facebook wall, mainstream media. We actually look at over 100 brands on a daily basis, and we look across industries. 2/3 of news flow is driven by blogs and Twitter. Mainstream media is extremely important. It's a catalyst that gets carried by blogs and Twitter. Now, so that's, when you think about that, if you're not doing all four well, you're not maximizing your coverage. If you look at visual, Stephen Weitz, who runs Bing, the search engine, says that their data shows that 2/3 of people prefer to be visual learners. It makes sense. That's why YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. So when you think about that, how do we communicate to our customers? The majority of what we do is we create text, put it in websites, we put it in press releases, we send it out. We're not actually, the test is, if you took all your text away, would your brand be able to tell its story visually? And if not, you're missing a huge opportunity to reach customers today. Depending on the year, between 300,000 and 500,000 people every day going online for the first time in their lives. Search is now becoming a decision engine. People are becoming increasingly comfortable that they can find what they need in search, go right to where they need to go to buy. So there's really not necessarily a need for a middleman, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. The importance of language, there's a couple things here. One of them is that there's usually like 10 to 15 words that have outsized influence in driving e-commerce. So you may have like a keyword list of thousands of words. Out of that, there's a couple hundred you think are important, but there's 10 or 15 that are money words. So the question is, do you know those words? Are you using them in every piece of content, in every post that you create, when you can? What we find is that people don't even know what the words are, so that's the first step to take. The third is the changing role of devices. If someone comes into your office, this is what I say to clients, if someone comes into your office and says, I have an idea for you for a mobile app, what I say is kick them out of the office. Because what you need to be doing is looking at how does your customer learn in their journey to a transaction and beyond. As that happens, how do their needs change? Are they looking for, searching for information? Are they asking questions? Are they getting information from their peers? And as you understand that journey, which devices are appropriate at which times? So this is a slide where I said, okay, I've talked to all these great people. I know all of them. What do I learn from them? What's consistent about an innovator that's relevant to you and the audience for what you do in your organization? This is it. These folks have vision that's incremental and continual. They're not big idea people. They're not out there like 3 years ahead. Every single meeting, every single interaction, they're improving what they do. The second is that they're such a student of the marketplace that they're told that they shoot from the hip, but the reality is they're so smart about the market, you give them one piece of information and they decide because they got it. You know, the third is that they change plans based on what they see in the marketplace. They are not locked into their bonus. In fact, a lot of them, of course, run their own companies, so they don't care. It's their money, and they want to make sure that they're aligning with their customers 365. A couple things, though. Reputation, the game's over. The reputation of a company or a brand is formed by your customers And your job is to be a relevant peer in joining them to shape it. So it's the reverse. So the idea that you're in control of your brand reputation is a myth. I think everyone in this room would say, whether you like it or not, pretty much true, but you can prove that through analytics. What I've learned is that more than 90% of issues are known and chronic. There's very few surprises in life. So if you actually map out the issues for a brand and you analyze it correctly, you can actually see issues form days and weeks before they hit the press. So the rule of thumb is, if it's a chronic issue and you're dealing with it first when it hits the press, you lost. Okay, key point here is best practices and next practices. So we get asked all the time, will you do best practices of an industry or something? So what I say every time is, no, we will not do that. And it kind of shocks people because they think, well, what are you doing? Turning away work. And what I say is that you have to focus on next practices. And next practices are real time. So if I want to know what's happening that's really good, I got to figure out who the innovators are in that particular area and study them in real time so I understand how to get an advantage. If I study best practices, I'm studying the past. So I'm basically ensuring that you can be a follower. And there's not that many companies out there that say, can you please guarantee that we can be a follower? Because we want to be like right in the middle. We don't want to build too much here, make it difficult here. If you were going to do 5 things tomorrow for your organization, these would be the 5. You would say, listening. Do I know exactly what customers are saying in the marketplace? No guessing at all. Do I know exactly who the influencers are in the market? And what I mean by that is, with the algorithms that are now available, you can say, here are the top 50 people who drive share of conversation for this brand in order, by channel, by topic, etc. Not a media list, specifically in order who drives your conversation. Language, do I know the top words that drive behavior? Content, do I know the content that my customers want? Because if you actually analyze the content that's out there for your competitive set versus what you have, and you minus them out, you can see exactly what content is missing that people are wishing that you would put out. And then distribution, are you sending things out through 10 channels of online, which I'll show in a second. Think about this, for your website traffic times 40. That's what your volume should be in terms of reach. So when you're reaching 40 times more people than your website traffic today, you're syndicating your content correctly. Repurpose content, doesn't need to be new. Just give them fuel. Turns out that's all people really want, and they start talking more about the brand, and your conversation volume goes up. You'll notice here, this one doubled, and then it went up again months later. We're seeing that is almost without fail. If you integrate properly, you have a much better outcome. 1990. So if you look online, real simple. Roughly, this works out pretty good. 1% of people create content, 9% of people share content, 90% of us lurk and learn. So the 1 and the 9, they're easy to find. So you want to know every creator by first name. The 9% are easy to find because they share, recommend, do stuff like that. The 90% is an area, it's a gold mine. And what's consistent is people want to share ideas, share product knowledge, solve problems. Those are the 3 things they want to do to help their friends, not to help you, to help their friends. If you help them do that, they like you for that, but they're not in it for you. And so companies that can do 2 out of 3 of these do really well.